Should we? All right. So nothing happened. Oh, there we go. Waking up. Okay. Uh, come on. God. There we go. Starting. YouTube. All right. Good morning. Good evening. Welcome to Sunday Night Live, everyone. It is Sunday night, right? In America. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me just make sure something here. Okay. Uh, anyway, where are we? Okay, so good, because so we're starting to come here. All right, Alexander, you're welcome. My pleasure. That's what makes life fun for me. Um, all right, I get it. We have enough people here. Can we do this here? That doesn't help, does it? Does it help? No, Bethany. Bethany, cop, Bethna. Okay, Bethna. Okay. All right, so what cop to call? Good morning from over here to you guys over there. There's the thing. Okay, good. I gotta remember where you guys are. Okay, there's the camera. All right, you know what? Let's get into it. We got these. We got the answer. Where's the questions? Here's the questions. Yay! All right, so now, what's that? March 16th? No. No. Wait a minute, you guys. Sorry, okay. So I don't know how that happened. Let's go back to that. There we go. All right. How weird. Okay. Yeah. Turn off your VPN. Okay. Uh, Old news. Come on. Okay. There we go. All right. So. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to make some announcements here. I just reminder that we're on. We have 3 groups only: Health and Healing Group, Parasite Guidance Group, and the CFC Group. Right? Okay. Only 3 groups. Right? Only 3 groups. Only 3 groups. Only 3 groups. So if there's anything else out there, like they still have that Telegram group up. I can't believe people are why are you guys still joining on the Telegram group when I have right on there that this is not me? And I see you are still joining. It's crazy. Maybe you just want to see what's going on, I guess, huh? It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, very weird. There's a group with my name. Yeah. Anyway, the inner, what is it called? What do you call it? Finally took my name off their protocols. There was a group on what was it called? It was called. It was crazy. They had me on. It was called. First Med, I think First Med. And First Med, where is it? First Med had me up, I had my video up, and they were selling Dr. Lodi's protocol. It wasn't my protocol at all. I didn't even know these people. Anyway, so apparently they're taking it down. We got a letter. We sent the letter to them, and they're going to take that down. That's great. Take my name off it. I like that. So, and then I haven't heard anything else about the Mr. Romance, if he's still skirting around the cobwebs of cyberosity and looking for emotional quickies. But I'm sure he is. Maybe he found someone else to impersonate. Anyway, so we only have 3 groups, okay? 3 groups, and that's it. And these live streams, and then the website. That's it. Okay, so, but remember, it'd be great if we could all begin to start using X, because at some point in time, people are Rumble, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram are going to probably do to me what they did to me on fuck Fic. What is it called? TikTok. And TikTok's got the most controversial, weird stuff up there. I mean, about the moon landing not being real. I mean, can you imagine? It might not be real. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, it just might not be real. Yeah. I mean, you mean they didn't have that kind of technology back then? No, don't you remember what we had back then? We had those we'd watch movies on these big reels at home and with film, and here they had the technology of on the moon. Right now they can't do it too well. Anyway, so but that's on TikTok and all kinds of stuff around it. But when I mention things like, oh my God, okay, now I want you all to hold your ears. The health benefits of propolis, bee pollen. Oh yes, I said it out loud. Can you imagine the gall that I have to say such a thing? They took me down for that. That was one of the reasons they banned my video. But you can have a video with somebody that has their, I don't know, something bizarre, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Controversial, like I don't know, like uh, uh, what's his name? Obama. Yeah, that guy there. He had a wife who there was some controversy on whether or not she was an XX or an XY. So, but they have that stuff out there. That stuff's up. But B propolis, my God, how can I talk about such a thing? Anyway, so they've taken me down off that. So you got to just imagine if they're taking me down for such things like that, I'm going to be off everything else. So let's switch over to X, and that's the only one of the as they call them, handles. I can't. Okay, is that called a handle? At Dr. Thomas Lodi MD. Okay, everyone else, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, at Dr. Thomas Lodi. Right. Okay. Website drlodi.com, drlodi.com, and you can get on. You can join the 3 groups that way. Just join the 3 groups that way. Get on there, and you can join the 3 groups. Then, instead of me not being able to answer your questions directly, I can answer questions because I want to answer. I want to interact, right? And believe me, when we get on these groups, it's not like 1 hour. We wind up doing 3 hours. So, anyway, and just as a reminder, right now, anyone, if you join the CFC group, there's another aspect to it. You have you have access to, and you become part of something called Kathy's Corner, which is it's a group where people are in a safe environment, in terms of confidentiality and in terms of being around other people who will understand and and not be, I don't know, judgmental or whatever, because we're all in the same group. We're all in the same boat. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? In Alcoholics Anonymous, or Narcotics Anonymous, you're with a group of people who share your major problems in life. And for that reason, you've got a level of camaraderie that you can't get, like the non-alcoholic. The alcoholic doesn't really care too much about what the non-alcoholic's talking about because they don't know. And they feel more comfortable talking to the alcoholic because they have, same thing if you've got CFCs. If you've got CFCs, it's you've entered into a world of trauma, post-traumatic and current traumatic psycho-emotionality that only someone else who's been through that can understand it, to the degree that makes you feel safe to talk about it, right? Because they get it, except for me. I have been watching very closely for decades, and I'm right there. Plus, I was born with this, I don't know. I when I'm talking to somebody or with somebody, I am them looking at me. I don't know how it happens, but that's it. So I'm like, I feel, I just, it's not that I feel, it's that, yeah, anyway. I really become us. So for me, it's different. I can join these groups. Yeah. But other than that, you want people that are down on that same thing that they understand. Anyway, so Kathy's Corner is fantastic. And it just started. It's a new feature. So when you join the CFC group, that's part of it. And it meets separately. It's like on a Saturday. Our Sunday, your Saturday. Yeah. It's your Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's our Sunday at 5:30 a.m. And we got some more stuff coming up soon. We've got Darren's kinesiology, and we've got Vanessa's, and we've got Garfield, the incredible Michelin raw chef, going to start giving, having free, not free, but yeah, part of our group is going to have episodes of, consistent episodes of him making food. Yeah. And teaching us how to, hey, yeah, I get it, guys. All right, in order to get healthy, I've got to do this. Okay, I get just one question. How? How do I do it? It's a big question, right? I get it. I know what I need to do. How do I do it? That's what we're gonna do. I want to give the how, right? I don't want to just give. It's like if I just say, hey, you got to do this, and I don't tell you how to do it, all I've done is added more stress. No, the only thing that'll help me, and I don't know how to do it. Yeah, I know that's crazy, right? So I definitely don't want to be part of that absurdity. So we have Darren and Vanessa will help in that, and Garfield, the Michelin raw chef, MRC. Isn't that cool? By the way, I did I was on Paul Nissan. You all know Paul Nissan. If you don't, you should get to know him. Paul Nissan, Nison. He's somebody I knew back in New York, back in the day when it was all starting. When what was that? 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. I think went up to we had Organic Avenue. We had what do you call it? What was that? Organic Avenue. We had what was that food? Pure Food and Wine, Quintessence. All these fantastic places to eat and hang out. And David Wolf was still David Wolf in those days. He wasn't advocating eating. Anyway, he was a different guy. He was a different guy than he is now, and he still thought that kale was cool. Can you imagine? Anyway, but Paul was there, Donna Peroni, and Fred Bishi. Okay, and you're saying, who are these people? Well, you'll know who they are because I'm going to be doing podcasts with them, a series of them. They've all been Paul, who had me on last week, and I'll be on again this week live on what is it? It's your Tuesday, my Wednesday. Your Tuesday afternoon. Look up Paul Nissan, Paul Nison. He's got he's been raw for 35 years, 100% uncooked food for 35 years. And guess what? Not only alive but got more energy and clarity than all of us. So I'm going to be on there again because answering questions. A lot of people have questions from his side of the world group. So you're all welcome to join that, okay? Because it'll be a live something this week. My 7 a.m. So I don't know because of daylight saving times or whatever you call it. Daylight saving. What a stupid thing. Who called it? Where'd they come up with it? Yeah, because we're too stupid to learn how to monitor our lives. So we're going to change the clock so that we can fool people into being. Anyway, it's, yeah. I kind of like it. All right, good. So I don't know what time it is, but let's say 7 a.m. here on Wednesday is wherever you are. That's where it'll be. Okay. And then we got another one coming up with Dr. Jen Simmons. You know Dr. Jen Simmons. She's the, I think it's called Keeping Abreast. She was, highly fellowship trained breast surgeon for many years in Pennsylvania until she saw the light. And now she doesn't take them off. She saves them. And she's amazing. She's brilliant. And so I had her on. You'll see if you go look under podcasts under drlodi.com, and you'll look at the podcast. You'll find a recent one that I did with her. She was on mine, and I'll be on hers soon. And we got some other stuff coming up. The Beljansky thing, and then some other thing happening. I don't know. Anyway, it should be announced on our website. I think it's announced on our website. We'll have to ask this guy named Hi. Is all of these things that are coming up announced on the website? Imagine they are. I can't imagine that he wouldn't do that. Come on. All right, that's it. Let's get on to it. Let's answer these questions. Let's answer these questions. Okay. Now, this is from John. Huh? Hi. My husband. Oh, okay, Julie. The name is okay. So it's Julie. The husband's name is John. My husband has been told he has a small tumor on his liver portal vein. They are going to do SIRT treat. You have SERT? That's usually something to do with the breast. So you must mean SIRT. And then immune therapy. His diet is vegan and juices frequently. He was thinking about taking ivermectin. Would this be all right? Yeah, Julie, and John. Yeah, for sure. But I think, yeah. So let's go on this. Here, the question I have, what I would have if we were interacting, if you were on the group or CFC group, we could talk about this. My question would be, so it's only on the vein. I mean, in the vein, or around the vein, squashing it, or is it coming? Is it on the liver, or is it on the vein, or is it in lymph nodes squashing the vein? Anyway, and I'm wondering if they've done any. Excuse me. I'm sure they have done tests to find out whether or not it's started in the liver, or it started perhaps in the colon or lung or breast or somewhere else, and came, not breast, but liver, colon, pancreas, lung, and then went to the liver. So I'm not sure what that is, but there is a treatment. It's not SERT, it's SIRT, which is selective internal radiation treatment. The acronyms, these acronyms, man, because if you say the acronyms, we know we don't doubt anymore. We know that you're brilliant. We know that you're like totally smart, because you know all the acronyms. If you know an acronym, I mean, and you don't know the acronym. I know the acronym. Anyway, so the acronym SIRT is different than SERT, which is selective estrogen receptor. Yeah, okay, right, and they're different, but right, okay. That's why I hate them. Just why can't we just speak? I am going to finish this book very soon. You guys got to read it. It's called the Coming Dark Ages. Yeah, I mean, you better read it. You better read it. Well, you can, because you won't be able to read it soon. Anyway, so with the SIRT, they use yttrium. It's of course, this is not a kind of word that anyone would ever just. If you were making up a language, you would never make up a word yttrium, right? Well, if you would, then anyway, yttrium-90. It's an element that's been modified so that it's been modified so that it emits nuclear energy, right? All chemical energy is has to do, when we talk about chemical bonds and chemical reactions, we're talking about the relationship between the electrons that are orbiting the atoms or molecules, right? Now remember, all of this stuff is highly advanced speculation, because nobody has ever seen an atom. I don't know. Anyway, but that's what chemical reactions are. Now, nuclear reactions are when the nucleus, which is the protons and neutrons, you get a change in there. Okay, so this yttrium-90 is administered in like these little small beads, and the interventional radiologist injects them through usually the hepatic artery. And the reason they use the hepatic artery, hepa means liver, hepatic makes it an adjective, artery, okay, hepatic artery, which is the artery that brings the blood from the heart to the liver, right? Now this is very different than the portal vein, which you were talking about as your husband. The portal vein is the vein that comes remember, veins drain back to the heart, and arteries go from the heart. Okay, so the portal vein is derived from all of the veins, little venules, which turn into bigger veins uh, that drain the whole intestines from the colon up to the stomach. Right? They all drain into this one big vein called the portal vein, which goes to the liver. And the reason it does is because anything that's being absorbed through the whole gastrointestinal tract needs to go through the liver to be detoxified before it gets into the systemic. Another one of those God tricks. God just. Oh no, it wasn't God. I forgot. That randomly happened. It was a random event. It was a random event. Okay. Right? Because out of nothing, suddenly everything appeared. It just didn't appear. It was a big bang. Yeah. And you know what happened after the big bang? Because of the laws of randomness, because everything's random. Remember, there's no intelligence in this universe. What are you kidding? It's all random. So, okay, out of nothing, everything exploded and randomly fell into perfect order. It's just, what can you say? It's just the way. It's just the way it is. Okay, so anyway, these yttrium 90 beads are delivered, and they emit radiation, and they'll kill tissues. So what are the potential problems? Well, it'll hit normal tissue. So what the radiologist has to do is kind of map out the vascular pattern of the liver, or of the arterial system going in there. Why do they use the artery and not the portal vein? Because CFCs, chronically fermenting cells, and for those of you who are just joining, that's what we call Sagittarius, Leo, Gemini, Virgo, Scorpio, no, Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries, no, Cancer. That's it. That's what we call Cancer, and we call it because why? Because that's what it is. They are chronically fermenting cells. They're not astrological signs. Hey, I've got an astrological sign in my body. No, chronically fermenting cells. Okay, so CFCs. So the reason is because CFCs, they have a big vascular network. There's chemicals that are induced to stimulate the proliferation of these new blood vessels, because they need that, because they can't grow 1 millimeter like any other cell without having a blood supply. So they need a blood supply, so they keep growing them. But these blood vessels are not normal blood vessels with smooth muscle in them that are responsive to the autonomic nervous system, right? They're not. So they don't have that. So they're just kind of like spaghetti, right? But anyway, but they're all connected to the arterial system. So like 85, what? More? Well, 85% of the blood going to these tumors are from the hepatic artery. Whereas with normal cells in the liver, about 1/3 of the blood going to the cells is the artery, and 2/3 is from the portal vein, because it's busy taking care of detoxification. And since the CFCs are not involved in that, they're just getting out. So anyway, by using the hepatic artery, they have more of a chance of getting to the target. Okay, in the one sense, but the radiologist has got to be able to localize it down to a very small arterial segment that is getting to there. Is that possible? Possible. Does it happen? No, not that often. So what's the problem? The problem is you wind up killing normal tissue. You wind up causing infections. You wind up causing bleeding. You wind up causing more problems. Now, this is very similar to another acronymic thing that interventional radiologists like to do to people with CFCs, and that's called TACE, TACE. And this is transarterial chemoembolization. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, so we have TACE and we have CERT. I mean, if you don't know what those mean, you're not cool. You're not smart. You can't consider yourself educated. All right. So what's the difference between TACE and CERT? Well, CERT is radiation. They go through it, they target, they get to, and they these little beads send that radiation. The other one, TACE, is they send in chemo embolization. Chemo. All right. In both cases, you wind up causing major problems, sadly. And the other thing too is to keep in mind that these are procedures that are based upon the mindset that we've got to kill this stuff. Now, we do want to eliminate tumors, absolutely. But more importantly is we want to remove the reason why they're happening. Because if we can eliminate why they're happening, they're not going to continue that. We're not going to get new ones, first of all. And secondly, these aren't going to be able to grow because all the whatever's required for them to grow has been eliminated. So they're going to just sit there, and now they're going to be susceptible to the immune system. So, but also you're going to be doing other things. But anyway, fundamentally, we want to eliminate the reason why these things are happening. And it's not just a military operation. And then we got to wake up the immune system, because the immune system, if it's awake, 100%, there are no tumors anywhere in the body. I mean, yeah. I'm looking for a miracle. God gave us the miracle. This immune system, miraculous. You just got to let it do its job. Take your foot off the brakes of the immune system and watch it just clean up. Okay. And the number one reason that we've got our foot on the brakes of the immune system is our minds, which are full of doubt and fear. That's it. Full of doubt and fear. And the problem is that the minute you walk in the hospital, the minute you think about a hospital, the minute you think about an oncologist, the minute someone says the word Sagittarius or Leo, any of those words, your mind collapses your immune system. Psychoneuroimmunology. Okay, there's nothing more powerful in either allowing healing to happen or blocking healing from happening. Nothing more powerful. Nothing more powerful. Okay, nothing more powerful. So does it deserve any of our attention? Yeah. But we don't. We're always looking for this or that. Will this work? I want to get rid of my. It's the Rockefeller, and I'm going to in this book that's coming up very soon. I'm going to explain a little more detail about who this guy is. This Mr. John D. Rockefeller was, and his descendants. By the way, on the maternal side, on his maternal side, I think it's 3 or 4 generations from Rockefeller. He's a guy named William Henry Gates III. Just happened to be the founder of Microsoft. Did you ever see that video of him where he's being questioned by Congress for doing the same thing his great granddaddy did, violate the antitrust laws? Did you ever see that thing? He's in this autistic. Have you ever seen that? If you haven't seen that, you got to find that on the internet. It's a great picture of William Henry Gates, Billy Boy. Anyway, that they want you to be at war against, and they've got you to war against yourself. Okay. Now, so this SIRT would be perfect if you could get exactly to the tumor, and you could do that. But in life, in real practice, it doesn't happen. So what's actually better because even if let's say you were to eliminate that, so it might be really important if you had, let's say, a large tumor that was causing major problems, like obstructing and things like that, then it would make sense to we got to eliminate this one, or or do surgery, or if there's a way to get rid of something. Otherwise, if they're not really large or causing obvious, obstruction or problems, then uh, cutting them off won't help, because there's even though you can't see them, there's like literally thousands of little microscopic and um, uh, tumors. So just by taking off one is not going to change the whole process, right? So really, you've got to focus your attention on eliminating the supply to them, right? You cut off the supply and they're all gone. So that's really where our focus has got to be, and you don't need to be misled. So the only time you really want to find the best treatment, the best therapy that's most effective, is when there is one or two or whatever that are not allowing your physiology to exist. You understand? To function. All right. So please keep that in mind. So I would do what I recommend for your husband, Julie, would be that he find somebody to work with that will. Now, what I don't know, I'm sorry, Julie, what I don't know about John is this tumor blocking already the portal vein? And is he like all yellow and unable to eat and getting sicker and sicker? Then that's another story. Then we've got to go after it somehow. And that might be one way. There are other ways. There's external radiation, and there's sometimes surgery. But I don't really know the situation. I don't know if it's lymph nodes. I don't know if it's. I'm sure it's not on the vascular sheath. So it's so anyway. Or yeah, I just don't know what your situation is, but. Are we back, Instagram? Hey, from Canada. Are we back, you guys? It said we were disconnected because of a bad... Right? Are we disconnected? Oh my God, you guys, please. Oh... You're making me sad. You don't get it. Come on, you guys. Please. Somebody in there, Anna, said, I just took a glance at the chat. Oh my God. What did you say, Anna? I'm a COVID long hauler. No, you're not. No, I promise you're not. You're a dynamic human being. You're a dynamic human being who's making 37 million new cells per second, who's engaging in 37 plus sextillion chemical reactions every second. Yeah. You are a focus of divine awareness. First of all, COVID. You said you were COVID. Am I not supposed to say that word? Is that one of those words? Anyway, you're a COVID long hauler, meaning that you bought the story of the COVID as being a real thing, number one. And then the long hauler means that you bought the story that there is something called a long COVID. So you bought a lot of the stories, the whole virus thing. These are on a good day assumptions. Anyway, even if they were true, that's not who you are. That's not what you are. That has not become your identity. If that's who you think you are, then they won. They won. Don't let them win. Okay? Remember who you are, everyone. Remember who you are. Okay? And even if you don't have a name for it, good. Because there is no name for who you are. Okay? You are the nameless, the center of the universe, the center of reality. The eye of God is looking through you. Okay. This other stuff, nah. Okay, it happens. there's stuff happening and we can put names on it, but not that's not it. Okay, just believe me. All right, so but the question you're asking there is, will the anti-parasitics help? Absolutely, anti-parasitics are going to help everyone. The only people that are not going to help are people that have some sort of specific reaction to those medications that are negative. I mean, other than that, and so. Oh my God. Okay, you guys. You know, Josh, I'm all over the place. Sorry, well, are you not? Is anybody not all over the place? Are you guys all in one place at one time? Anyway, I'm not. I can't be in one place at one time. Ivor Heal, that was the best brand, and the oncologist told me to take it once daily on an empty stomach. Your oncologist once a day on an empty stomach. Your oncologist, it's completely, not completely, but only 80-90% wrong. I'll talk about that in a second. Let me just. Okay. I can't look at you. I can't look at this. I'm gonna because remember I'm all over the place. Sorry, I got to get out from all over the place. Let me get back to what's really important. Okay, so anyway, so what I would say is your husband's got to change. He's got to do all the things that we know we have to do. Everything from biological dentistry down, cleanse, everything, all that we always talk about. And then we need to wake up the immune system with our various peptides and learning to turn off the mind, psychoneuroimmunology, and we cleaning the bowels, all those things. All these things we have to do, all right? And then we can use um, uh, heavy duty nutraceuticals instead of pharmaceuticals as much as possible to eliminate CFCs. We can do that with high dose vitamin C and ozone. There's a lot of ways to do this. And should he take ivermectin? Yes, with fenbendazole, yes, and with niclosamide, and probably nitazoxanide. Now, I don't know your husband. I can't say for sure what he should and shouldn't take, but I don't know his liver function, so I can't ever say that. But I'm normal under. If I knew him and I knew his liver functions were okay, I would start him on something like that. Yeah, but yes, for sure. And all right, let's go to the next one. This is Elaine. Elaine says, I'm reading conflicting advice and would really love your input. Could the cellular debris from mebendazole, ivermectin induced apoptosis become an issue? I've read on Jane McClellan's group that CFCs utilize this as a source of energy. How would you suggest overcoming this? Is pectazole sufficient, or do we really need to flush it out? Thanks again. Okay. All right, Elaine, let's get into that answer. All right. Now, first of all, the question is a misunderstanding of the question. Your question tells me there's a misunderstanding of what the word apoptosis means. Apoptosis. I'm not sure. Tomato. Apoptosis. If you're, some people call it apoptosis. Anyway, what it is programmed cellular recycling. Okay, so the cell recycles itself. So instead of a cell just dying, which would, I'm not supposed to use that word. Gosh, I keep forgetting. Okay, instead of a cell just becoming a corpse, and then that's called necrosis. Okay, so when cells become no longer viable, that can happen through a variety of mechanisms. One is called necrosis, where it's just like as if someone were, hit by a car or something and they just explode. Okay. trying to use words that aren't going to trigger some artificial idiot. So that's called necrosis, where things are just there. That's that mess on the street when the cat got hit by the car. Then there is apoptosis, where it's according to biological imperatives, cells are recycled at a regular rate. Recycled. There's no debris. There's no cellular debris. There's ferroptosis. There's um, what's the other one? Cupratosis. Yeah, and so we're finding out that there's more and more ways in which the body recycles and eliminates cells. So yeah, we're finding that out. We're calling them, giving them different names. But basically, apoptosis should not be causing any cellular debris. Okay. And that's very true. So ivermectin, it's an opportunity for us just to kind of review what ivermectin actually does, right? So it actually it activates this. It's a glutamate. Glutamate. Remember glutamate? Glutamine is a amino acid. Now it's a non-essential amino acid, so our body makes it, but also we get it in our food. It's a glutamate gated. In other words, there's a gate there for the chloride channels. Chloride, sodium and chloride. So chloride is a halide. It's a type of chemical that binds to a transition in earth metals to become salts, like sodium chloride, potassium magnesium fluoride, magnesium iodide. Now, these are all different ways of making salts. Anyway, so there's the ivermectin actually activates the glutamate gated chloride channels, causing chloride ions to fly into the cell. All right, more than would normally happen. So in the nerve of these little parasites become hyperpolarized, right? They get and they die because they release this stuff. They release this stuff called GABA. You've heard of GABA, right? Gamma aminobutyric acid, and this winds up destroying these nerve cells. And then so now the muscles. These guys do have muscles. I mean, the parasites, they might look like wimps, but they're not vegans. Remember, they're not vegans, so they're not wimps, right? Right. Okay. Anyway, so these little parasites get paralyzed because of the ivermectin blocking the glutamate-gated calcium. Anyway, that's the mechanism. That's basically the mechanism. But it's interesting that it also does. They found that it's not only with the worms, the helminths, but with malaria. 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 And then it's not a worm. And then there's the trypanosomiasis. That one. Schistosomiasis, trichinosis. These are worms. And then leishmaniasis. These are like major, really horrible parasitic situations that ivermectin seems to work with. It also works with scabies. I mean, it's extremely versatile. But the other thing about it is that what's really amazing is that it deals with the CFC problem on so many levels, right? It changes the tumor microenvironment, which is a big deal, because that's really where, remember, the tumor microenvironment modifies the immune system so it doesn't attack anymore. So it starts working for the tumor's growth rather than for the benefit of eliminating the tumor. Okay, so that's crazy. So the ivermectin actually helps reverse that. Not completely, but helps. Well, you have other things to together make that work, right? And then because by doing that, what it allows is now the immune system to do its job. Immunogenic cell. What's that word? Cell birth. Birth's okay, right? The opposite of birth. Okay, so the immunogenic cell. Ivermectin do, it works as an epigenetic regulator. What does that mean? That means, remember, we've spoken about this before. When a cell loses its mitochondria, a sufficient number of mitochondria, and it has to start changing operating systems to become a chronically fermenting cell, it turns on this gene, turns off that gene. It makes all these epigenetic modifications so now that it can successfully ferment. live on fermentation, which is a very inefficient way of getting energy. Um, uh, so those changes that it made, so that it has a different genetic expression, are called epigenetic changes. Epi, around, not genetic, around, causing a change in genetic expression, not mutating, because a mutation is done. You're done. You're not going to change a mutation, right? If you have Down syndrome, it doesn't matter what you eat or drink, you still have Down syndrome. So in these situations, like the P53, which is the tumor suppressor gene, the guardian of the genome, when that's suppressed, they say it's mutated. Well, it's not mutated if you can bring it back, if you can upregulate it. In other words, it was silenced. The P21, which is another tumor suppressor, the PTEN, another tumor. They can be turned back on by certain things, such as, I don't know, something veganish. Vegan. Those vegans. It's called broccoli and cauliflower. There ain't nothing you can get from a plant that you can't get from a good steak. You know what I'm talking about? There ain't nothing in the world that is as powerful and as strong and as more fit for humans than a steak. Yeah, I get it. I know the steak is just a piece of muscle from a dead animal, but hey, it's got everything I need. All right, so that was just a little commercial break from Idiocity. Idiocity? Idiocity is a place where a lot of people live. And fortunately, I've never even visited there. I can't get in the door. They won't let me in. I can't idiotricize sufficiently to get in the door of Idiocity. But anyway, so now what else does ivermectin do? It inhibits the AKT-mTOR pathway. Do you realize that? Right? So it induces autophagy. What is autophagy? Autophagy. Self-eating. It eats itself. And as I said, it activates the P21, which is another tumor suppressor gene, protein, and activates the PAC1 kinase. You might not know these terms, and you don't need to. The other one is that it inhibits the WNT pathway. The WNT pathway. You see all these acronyms. Anyway, the WNT pathway allows metastasis, and it kind of blocks that. Whoa! So it does all these things. So but it doesn't cause necrosis. And by not causing necrosis, there's no debris. If there's no debris, there's nothing to clean up. So I'm not sure what was being discussed on that Jane McClellan group or whatever it was, but I mean, it even ivermectin is even important with cholangiocarcinoma. Cholangiocarcinoma is bile duct CFCs, and a big, here in Thailand, the largest, number one, not something that you want Thailand should be proud about, but number one in the world of having cholangiocarcinoma because of an area called Isan, where they eat this raw fish called bala deep. And it's got this little flatworm in it called Opisthocorcus, and they hang out in bile ducts. They find their way up to the bile duct, and they hang out there, and they cause intense inflammation, which eventually becomes CFCs. Yeah. Anyway, ivermectin helps. Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell them at Chulala. Don't tell them at Rongpaya Bangunte. Don't tell them at any of those places, right? And the truth remains that no one wants to know. Christofferson, yeah. It's called, what's the name of that? To Beat the Devil. Did you ever hear that song, To Beat the Devil, by Christofferson. I love it. Love it. Anyway, so that's what ivermectin does. I mean, it does more. It causes cells to like stop in their dividing thing, to like get stuck in at the S phase, and I mean it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And so do the benzimidazoles, mebendazole, fembendazole, right? And they don't really cause necrosis. They don't cause where you would have debris, cellular debris. They don't do that. Okay, and together they're incredible. Together these two, the fembendazole or the mebendazole and ivermectin, they completely disrupt the metabolism of the CFC. So it's not really, can't eat very well. It can't function very well. It causes cell cycle arrest. In other words, it can't keep dividing. So it goes through apoptosis. The fenben and the meben, all those and benzimidazoles, they block the microtubules, so that doesn't allow any kind of movement either, and they can't divide. I mean, and then of course, as I said, the ivermectin modulates the immune system. So when you got all those together, they activate p53. They do so many things that it's crazy. And now if you throw in niclosamide, yeah, and then you just for fun you add in nitazoxanide, which is alinea, and you have got not only all the worms, all the protozoa. Well, there's a couple. There may be a couple. Yeah, I think you got them all, pretty much. I mean, so in terms of parasites, and then, but in addition, you're getting all the CFCs. I mean, niclosamide alone is being considered a frontline for ovarian CFCs. It's being used in osteosarcomas. Sarcomas are very difficult, and the osteo comes from the bone, and then there's the liposarcoma. So these are being used for those front line. So, I mean, they're not even looking at parasites. Anyway, the point is this: that these are very, very important parts of anybody's regimen, and they're not going to cause cellular debris. So keep that in mind. So I'm not sure what they're talking about with you. All right, next person is. What is it, Raymond? Kimberly. How many drops of 2% iodine does an adult female put in a glass of liquid? I have been only using salt the last 5 years. That doesn't have iodine in it. Does the body store iodine? Well, no, Kimberly, some interesting questions here. So, yeah, the what do you call it? The body does not store iodine. I mean, to any appreciable degree. It's being used by tissues, so that it'll be in there. But and iodine comes in two forms: iodide, which is like a salt, potassium iodide, and iodine, which is molecular, two iodine molecules together, two iodine atoms together forming a molecule. They have different functions, and now the 2%. So that's the thing. Remember the 2% is one kind. They've got 5%, 7%, 10% iodine is what you want, right? Because okay. The thing to understand is that you've got the iodide, like I said, which is the salt form, the halogen form, which is only used by the thyroid to make thyroid hormones, T4 and T3, which are essential to immune function, etc., and to energy metabolism. I'm not undermining it at all, but the other one, the iodine, is where you have, which helps with the healthy metabolism of estrogens, right? So that they become healthy metabolites instead of detrimental metabolites, number one. Number two, directly kill CFCs. Number and kill microorganisms. Um, yeah, I mean, and they happen to they're how healthy breasts function, healthy stomachs function. They're very important as part of the functioning of particular organs like thyroid, breasts, stomach, pancreas. Yeah, so they're it's very important. But anyway, there's two of them. So when we're talking about the 2%, so here's the problem. In order to make the solution called Lugol's, since iodine, which is two iodine atoms put together to form I2 so that it's stable, uh, is not as soluble in water as iodide, which forms a salt, right? Because salts are, you put a salt in water and they dissolve. They're very dissolvable. Okay, so anyway, so 2% iodine. And so anyway, the majority is iodide, so that the iodine, because we really need a little bit of iodide and a lot of iodine molecular. However, that won't maintain in solution. The only way you can maintain a solution is to have more of the iodide because it's water soluble. So you wind up with a solution that's opposite of what you want. So therefore, if you have only 2%, that means that's very little of it, and you need more, right? And so, the 2% is about, per drop you get about 2.5 grams, right? Whereas the 5% you get 6.25 grams, and in the 22% you get 25 to 30 milligrams. Okay, so 2.5 milligrams is 2%. So since you want about 25 milligrams a day, you would have to take 10 drops of that. You can put it in, or you can get the tablets, the iodoral, because sometimes it's hard to find the Lugol's, but the iodoral, IODORAL, is the same formula. Okay, so anyway, that's it. Let's see the next question. Stephen. Thyroid CFCs. Guys, come on. Are you got, are you going to continue to use the words? Are you going to continue to use those words that are going to prevent you from breathing? Are you going to continue to use the words that are going to cripple your immune system? Are you? You guys going to continue to use that? You're going to continue to use the word, even though I've told you, you don't believe me. That's it. You don't believe. You think I'm. I don't know what you think, but it's not true. I actually mean it. I actually mean it. And I have reason to mean it. So anyway, thyroid CFCs, but you didn't use that word. You had to use an astrological sign in 1990. You had a total thyroidectomy. At that time, the doctor said he left the parathyroids. "25-year getting kidney stones and bone spurs. Now doctors say I have diffuse idiopathic skeletal hypersentosis, DISH. A recent diagnosis of a rare glaucoma. Have gut pain, acid reflux, now symptoms of diabetes, yet I'm low sugar, hypoglycemic, sleep apnea, borderline high blood pressure, starting to get memory issues. TSH, up and down. My norm is 0.0 2, yet highest is 27. Fatty liver, PTH unknown. That's parathyroid. Asked naturopath doctor for Femben Ivan. She said 1 pill only, 1 pill. $78 US. I ready to say FU USA. Why would you say such a thing? FU USA, Dr. FDA. I got Vimectin horse paste and Fenben Bio. Haven't started because MSDS say no, not for human. Toxic. I don't know if I can continue. My spirit is at all-time lows, so is it safe to take Bimectin together? Plan on milk thistle cloves and dandelion, castor oil. Your response: if and when I find a USA doctor to give treatment for human grade ivermectin, I will switch. Okay. Stephen, first of all, stop using their word, okay? It's not, you don't have an astrological sign in your body, okay? Never did, never will, okay? You've got a chronically fermenting cells, you had chronically fermenting cells, period. Don't use their words, which are lies, because the minute you do that, you're lying to yourself, you're buying them, and you are them, so stop being them, all right? They took your thyroid out. He says you left your parathyroids. So if he had gotten all of your parathyroids and you haven't been augmenting that in any way, you wouldn't be alive. So by now. Now, you've got these conditions of glaucoma, gut pain, acid reflux. I don't know what you mean by symptoms of diabetes. Yet you're low sugar, hypoglycemic. I'm not sure what you're meaning by that. What all the stuff that you're talking about here, fatty liver, sleep apnea, all this stuff is related to diet. And if you're having sleep apnea, that can and most likely is related to your airway. And so as part of your evaluation of take care of yourself, you're going to see a biological dentist, and you definitely want to make sure that they do a 3D cone beam, CT of your whole area there, so that they can take a look at your airways, and take a look at your whether or not you have cavitations, whether or not you have any other serious issues going on. All right. What? Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry for being so tired. I shouldn't be. Anyway, all your problems. I mean, there's no way, and your memory issues, all this stuff, borderline hyper. It cannot be happening if you're eating healthy. It can't happen. Just can't. It's not possible. So, Stephen. I'm not sure if you're new to this and all that, because you can't have fatty liver. Because the implication, I think, is that they may have taken your parathyroid, right? And they're having all these problems, right? Okay. I don't think they took them all. If they did take any, they could have, but not all. So, but anyway, it's more than that. What you're describing is way more than that. So, and I understand that your spirits are broken, and I understand that because you're dealing with. They're not really doctors. They're not doctors. They got their little degree from a Cracker Jack. Okay. So the MSDS says that it's not the same. Well, horse paste, believe me, they have it's the same. Ivermectin is ivermectin, is ivermectin, is ivermectin. Fenbendazole is fenbendazole, is fenbendazole. And it's only for horses? Oh, yeah? Talk to Joe Tippins about that, who's still alive. Okay, so it's not only for horses. Anyway, I don't know how they come up with this ridiculous stuff. I mean, I do. They would if it's a dog dewormer, it's a horse dewormer, it's an antelope dewormer, it's a raccoon dewormer, it's a mountain lion dewormer, it's an elephant dewormer, but it's not fit for human. Anyway, so what you're taking, if it's for veterinary use, it's the same thing you're going to get. It's just in a different package. You might be in a paste instead of a pill or something like that, but it's still the same thing. So don't worry about that. Now, you're not going to, it's hard to find a doctor in the US. It's very hard anywhere. Actually, the US has actually more potentially great doctors than anywhere else that I've been. So, by the way, I am very close to being able to tell you where to get all these pills. I've been working with this group, and we're pretty close to being able to say, just ask, go to this website, and you'll be able to get all these pills, anti-parasitic pills. So anyway, Stephen, you have got to clean up your life, okay? And don't have to worry about human grade ivermectin. Okay, you need ivermectin, fenbendazole, but you need a lot of other things. And sounds like you've got all kinds of problems that really, because your TSH can't go from 0.2 to 27 without. I mean, first of all, if you don't have a thyroid, anyway, there's way too much inconsistent information here. So, Stephen, you've got to join the groups so you and I can have a conversation. I need to understand what's going on. I can't. This is way too much seemingly nonsensical stuff. So, I'm sure it's real, but I can't. I'm missing a lot. So please do that. Okay. Now this is Shivani. Shivani. I wanted to know, is it common to have side effects from taking anti-parasitic med? I was following your protocol, but had to stop taking Praziquantel because I had debilitating side effects: flu, drowsy, racing heart, unwell, in bed for most of the day. Wow. Since you stopped, you feel much better. Well, it sounds like that the Praziquantel might have been getting an organism that was these are not typical symptoms of that medication at all. So it sounds like it was probably eliminating some organism from you but since you stopped, you're feeling much better, but you have some of these side effects from the other meds. Well, I'm thinking that you're killing off some stuff that you need to. Now remember, not everybody, in fact, most people will not see evidence that they've eliminated some organisms from their body. Like they won't see worms in the stool. They won't see, anything emerging from their body like some people do. Okay, it just won't happen. Okay. Anyway. So I'm serious, Shivani. Um, yeah. So you've got a lot of some organisms in you that are being. So if it's you're saying you're still getting these same side effects but much milder from eliminating the praziquantel. So the praziquantel was I guess more on target, or the combination of the praziquantel with the other ones that you're taking. So in any case, these are not, racing heart rate, feeling drowsy, generally unwell, are not from the medication. It's from the um, consequence of eliminating these organisms. So what you need to do is figure out a way to, keep that up without being debilitated. So I guess without using the praziquantel, it sounds like you're still mild. You can live with it, right? So maybe that's the way you should do it for now. Uh, if you're Yeah, I would say it sounds like if you can function with the rest of these by having eliminated the praziquantel, if you can function, then you're so I mean function so that your life is worth living. If you're not having a if you're not enjoying life, then no, then eliminate a couple more until you can get to the point where it's okay. Because you want to get, but remember too, to eliminate some of these organisms, we have to go through certain things. So anyway, I'm not sure how to tell you. I wish I could work more closely with you. I wish you could join the parasite group, so we could really talk about your situation. Now this is Trisha, and she's saying hello. Thank you. 1 year ago, I had a subarachnoid brain hemorrhage, and the neurologist said it dissipated. Then I was told I had a spinal stenosis and need surgery. I stopped taking the prescriptions, and the pain is brutal and seems to be moving to my piriformis. I'm on limited income and trying to eat right. They will not give me a referral to an infectious doctor and say I can have a stool or blood sample that's not going to show nesting parasites. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can read this again to understand it. Then I was told that I had a spinal stenosis and I need spine surgery. I stopped taking the prescriptions and the pain is brutal and seems to be moving to my piriformis. Okay, so that's a very little muscle inside your uh, it's your pelvis bone connecting to uh, your leg, your femur, and that can be painful if you get spasm of the piriformis. Um, I'm on a limited income and trying to eat right. They will not give me a referral to an infectious doctor and say I can give a stool or blood sample that's not going to show nesting parasites, whose objective is to avoid detection. I'm a bit frightened for many reasons, and this is why my soul is telling me is the cause. And they try to say I have psychosis. Okay, wow, I know. I mean, my heart goes out to every one of you for having to deal with the system. They're not doctors. They're just people that are there to push the Algorithms. Oh my gosh. Well, one thing to keep in mind, Tricia, is that most of the time when people have parasites, it's undetectable. We're not going to find them in the stool. We're not going to find evidence of them in the stool. We're not going to find, you know, we very rarely find blood tests. So, you know, I don't, and we're not even sure. Anyway, the point is, don't worry about the testing. If you like, okay, we all have parasites. Period. That's a given. All right. Now, the about your spinal stenosis, I I don't know. That's a serious situation. If you have spinal stenosis, I mean, I don't know where on your spine, but you have to understand that anything below wherever they're saying there's stenosis could cease to be viable, and that could be a major, major, major problem. So if you have a spinal stenosis somewhere, that's got to be taken care of surgically, or allopathically. This is like one situation where you've got to rely on the allopath. So I'm not sure, when you said hello and thank you for 1 year ago, I had subarachnoid brain hemorrhage, and the neurologist said it dissipated. Well, they will hemorrhage. If you had a subarachnoid hemorrhage and left alone, eventually the body dissolves, um, clots. So I'm a little confused there. If you have a spinal stenosis, you've got to take care of that. You can't. Now, it's a separate issue whether or not you've got some parasites, and you do. Everyone does. So to take some antiparasitics would make absolute sense, no matter what. However, don't fool around with spinal stenosis. Take care of that. Okay. And if I could have a little more interaction with you, you can join the health and healing group. Okay, this is Wendy. I had internal shingles about 15 years ago, and have been dealing with nerve pain a couple times a year on the left leg. Can you suggest anything to eradicate this virus, or at least handle the nerve pain when it comes up? Internal shingles. I don't know what that means. Let me. Am I missing something? Let me see. Let me look. Let me ask. Is there? Maybe this came up as a phrase. Internal. My gosh, this is another boogeyman. Okay, so because we all know that the varicella zoster virus is supposed to be that which is associated with shingles, right? It's chickenpox revisited, but so what they're saying is that this is where this virus, this varicella zoster virus, is activated in a part of the body you can't see. And I guess they know because they must do some blood tests. They see you've got a fair IgG or something. Anyway, I'm not sure. I don't know. I hadn't heard that before. That's a terrible thing. I mean, the pain from zoster, from the shingles, is excruciating. It's kind of like if anyone's ever had herpes. Remember, these are all part. They're all part of there's the same family of viruses. Now, I'm not saying the viruses even exist. They might be and are most likely what are called exosomes and are there for a different reason. But for the purposes of this discussion, there's a family of viruses called the herpes family, which includes the herpes type 1 and 2, right? Which we used to think of as oral and genital. However, the type 1 was oral, the type 2 was genital. However, due to normal sexual practice, 2 is where 1 is and 1 where 2 is. So you can't really identify 1 and 2 as being anatomically located. So there's the herpes simplex type 1 and 2, and then there's the Epstein-Barr virus, there's the cytomegalovirus, there's the varicella virus we were just talking about. These are all part of the herpes families. And then there's human herpes, HHV 5 and 6, because they ran out of other kinds of names. So now they're just numbering them. HHV 6, HHV 5. Yeah, so. But anyway, these are viruses that kind of live on nerves, in nerves, and on nerves. And they go to sleep and wake up, go to sleep and wake up. It's not they do. We're just using those terms. But in any case, so if you've ever seen shingles, shingles is usually on one dermatome. In other words, it's on one nerve. It comes off your central nervous system. You have all these peripheral nerves. So one of those nerves, dermatome, has this situation happen with it, whatever it is. So you get little, like on the skin, these blisters, just in one area. So if it's on the face, it's here. If it's on the back, it can be anywhere. And it's usually on one side. It doesn't cross the midline. Okay. Whereas if you recall chickenpox, if you had chickenpox, you had these little blisters all over the body. I mean, both sides. Or if you've had herpes on the lip or genitals, and so these are very painful lesions. They get itchy, and then if you scratch them, they hurt tremendously. So anyway, but they're all part of the herpes family. So when they come back, wherever they are, they're extremely painful. They can be itchy and painful. But I'm trying to imagine when they're saying they're internal, that means they're can't be seen. So they're on a peripheral nerve that doesn't in the periphery. I got to look that up. I've got to understand that better because it's just not making sense to me. It's not making sense to me. But anyway, so your problem is this. You're wondering what to do with it. Well, handle the nerve pain when it comes. Okay, so if you don't know, like what, normally usually these kinds of virus, for the sake of these discussions, we're going to assume that the viruses exist. The herpes or whatever they are, different kinds of the herpes family. The idea is that they're dormant, they live on the nerves, and they come back at certain times, meaning they wake up at certain times. And the reason they wake up at certain times is they weren't sleeping. The reason that they're activated is because the immune system is, in one way or another, lessened, damaged. So now, you would work on that. You'd work on the psychology of that and whatever else, not getting enough sleep, overexerting yourself, all the kinds of things that might decrease your immunity, bad, unhealthy foods, etc., unhealthy relationships, whatever it is that, exposure, the EMF, all these things that could be contributing to your immune suppression, you want to deal with. But on the other hand, if it's there and it's terrible, you can take the drug that they use is called acyclovir, in like 800 milligrams 5 times first day, 6 times then, every few hours, just the ba 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 ba, and it works. It works, especially if your pain is severe and debilitating. I would definitely do that. Okay, and I don't know of anything else that works that effectively and that rapidly, because if people that are going to get an outbreak of herpes or and they start to get their first blister, you can take many that first day, it won't come out. It'll block it. So, or people that have shingles, you can get rid of it quickly with that. So that's what I would recommend in that situation. Other than that, you want to make sure it doesn't come out by changing your lifestyle, cleansing, learning to deal with turning your mind off, meditation, eating right, going to bed early, movement, all the things that we talk about for health, restoring health and eliminating any immune suppressing lifestyles. Okay, so now here's breast CFCs, and this is Annette. And Annette's saying, I'm new to watching you. I have hormone receptor positive breast CFCs metastasized to the bones, and now possibly my liver as well. I'm 5 foot 1.5, weigh 180. I've done conventional treatment so far, but feel like I'm getting worse, not better. My bones are weak and fracturing. And the lack of hormones by blockers, and my blood work is terrible. Wow. You're at your wit's ends. I get it. Okay, listen. Annette, drlodi.com. drlodi.com. Join the CFC group, so we can talk. There's so much, and I'll give you the protocols and all that stuff. You need a protocol. You need to jump off of their train. You're right. You're on the train to asystole train, where the heart's not beating anymore and the lungs aren't breathing anymore. What do you call that condition? Yeah, that's where that train goes. All right, and okay, and I'm just telling you, you're on that train and you know it, and I'm so happy you know it, because now you can jump off it. You are feeling worse and not getting better. Exactly. You don't take a sick person and say, you know what, you're sick, I'm going to poison you. That'll help. In what universe do you mean that'll help, dude or dudette? What universe is poisoning me when I'm sick going to make me feel better? In fact, how is poisoning me when I'm healthy going to do any good, right? So if I give poison to a healthy person and they get sick, how can I make the incredibly logical decision that giving that same poison to a sick person will make them feel better? That's insane, beyond insane. Okay, so I'm so glad you woke up in that. So there's a lot that we need to do. We need to figure out. Yeah, and if it's in your bones, okay, normally, yeah, naturally. Yeah. So you are HRPR positive, HER2 negative. Okay, that's pretty common. You want to live and thrive. I want you to live and thrive. I want that. So you, drlodi.com, drlodi.com. Go there, join the CFC group. Let's get started on it. What you'll get is access to this package, first of all, of what to do immediately. Because you're new to this, so you haven't heard these, but you can go back and watch a lot of these because they're all archived on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. But we talk about always you've got to get rid of the reason why it's all happening, and you've got to then wake up the immune system, and you've got to target whatever's there, and without harming the healthy cells. And that's what we do. Those three things, in every respect, because we understand that human beings are not like automobiles. They're not just physical. They don't just have physical properties. Like you bring your car in, okay, doc, here, fix it. I'll be back in a couple hours. That's not like that. Okay, there's a driver in that car. That's you. All right. And that driver has feelings, and that driver has thoughts, and that driver. It's not just an automobile. All right. So anyway, good. Annette, let's do it. We got to clean you out and get you on the right path, and you'll be fine. You just got to do that. Okay. Joyce. Good. So you watched the cleansing parasites, I remember. Our 10-year-old son was tested for many things and found to be have a high level of parasites. Wait a minute, let me see that. It says, can you also our doctor recommended us to use GI microbe X, oil of oregano and revive. Okay. Well, when you say you've got parasites, when you say what did they find? I mean, did they find? Wait a minute. Where is that? Oh, come on. God. Did they find worms? Did they find protozoa? Did they find ectoparasites? Like stuff on the outside. I mean, what are you talking about? I that's why it's so hard on for these for us not to have what do you call it? For us not to have interactions, because I can't just like hear stuff. So I have too many questions, I wish I knew what you were talking about. So okay, if your son, your 10-year-old has worms, now how would your 10-year-old get this if you don't? Right? Because unless was your 10-year-old like away for the summer? Where are we? March. Yeah. No. So it's not. Anyway, I don't know the timing on all this. I don't know when all this happened. But if I'm assuming that if your 10-year-old wasn't away from you, it would be very unusual circumstances for your 10-year-old to get full of parasites, and you and your husband not, or perhaps other siblings. I don't know. I don't know. What they usually, for ivermectin is usually 0.2 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, right? And remember, ivermectin is used for not only humans, but it's used for even cats and dogs, and all different body sizes. So I mean, and like the cats, I forget, it's a real small dose, but so it's really safe in everyone. So you're getting the proper dosage is right, but it's usually 0.2 milligrams per kilogram. But I don't know what kinds of parasites your son has, and why would he have them and you don't? That's really odd. I mean, or do you think, have you been tested? I don't know. Wow. You've got to find out. You've got to give me more information. Okay, I wish. Can you? Let's see. Are you gonna? Are you listening? Maybe you can send the question here. You guys have got a whole world going on. You got. Well, you all need to join these chat groups because you've all got information you're giving each other. I don't know if it's all correct or not. I can't say that. I'd have to read it over. What I find though, in most cases, is that a lot of people don't study subjects thoroughly. They get a small part of information about something, and they become champions of that. And really, you all have to be careful. No, I'm not talking to anybody specifically. I'm just saying you all have to be careful that when you're, especially in a forum like this, when you're talking, when you're putting out information, there's a sense that, well, it's got to be real because it's got to be true because it's on this particular forum, and but not. I don't really know if you're all saying what's happening. I don't know what you're all saying to each other, but you're real busy doing it, and I'm wondering then if you're real busy doing this, are you part of this whole? Are we also? Are you listening anyway, or am I just too spaced out to keep anybody's attention? Yo, replying to Amin Awa, Dr. Pauline Gregg. What is going on here? I've had eye worms. Been taking every minute. Hey, listen to you guys. Do you guys want to why don't you join the Parasite group? I can see everybody's got a lot of information and a lot of stuff, and we all have our own perspectives, and we're gonna let's bring them together and let's make them really useful for each other. Let's make sure we're 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 really helping each other, and you know, because we don't always have all the information. What I like to do, or not, I like to do. I'm like obsessed with it. I'm stuck with it. I can't. I never. If I read something or hear something, I can't. I go, okay, but what about this? I have to understand every possible situation, every possible variable that you. And unless I understand it thoroughly, I can't even feel comfortable about discussing it. So that's my plague. I'm plagued with that. But a lot of people aren't, and I can see that. And I can see that you're putting out partial stuff and you haven't read it all. And so for that reason, this would be great if we could have this on a discussion. That's one of the ideas of the groups is for us to have a forum for discussion, right? And then when we have weekly Zoom conferences with all of us on it, we can interact. We can share this information. Okay, that's what we should do because. Can liver flukes travel to the brain? Could I actually have them? Trigeminal neuralgia, occipital neuralgia. But now, after researching, reading parasites, I'm wondering now. Well, yeah, I don't think that long hair. I don't think that necessarily, Zoe. The parasite's going there. You've got to keep in mind that the mouth, you've got the facial nerve, you've got the trigeminal, you've got these other nerves, you've got the what do you call it? Cranial nerve number 11 for the tongue back there. Anyway, you got a lot of these cranial nerves that are in the cranium, and they are going to be directly affected by your dental health, by your oral health. And so what's going on, and remember, in our mouth live protozoa as well as anaerobic aerobic, gram-negative, gram-positive bacteria, and funguses, and archaea. So, I mean, and then whatever viruses are. So all these things are in there in a healthy proportion. It's our natural biome, but in an unhealthy proportion, because of the kinds we eat, it's a problem. Okay, so I would say if you're thinking trigeminal, if you're thinking any kind of cranial nerve problem, before I would jump to an idea of parasites, in the way we normally think about parasites, I would start to think of our oral health and our oral, what's going on in there, because they're all connected. All right. So remember, the upper jaw, lower jaw, tongue, all go through the trigeminal, right? So, and therefore they can carry information from that nerve up to the brain as well. So that's what I would think of if you're having those kinds of problems with, okay. Jeremy Reed, follow Dr. Jasmine A. Page, dedicated to alternative methods of parasite cleansing, cancer protocols, and also a safe place to source all the alternative treatments. All right, you guys, a lot of parasite stuff on here. Wait. All right, I can't follow. If I read you guys, I'm gone. All right. Hey, you guys are busy. I don't even know if you know if I need to be on here. Should I just click off and let you guys finish your talks? You guys are busy. How do you join the Paracycle? drlodi.com. That's the website, and then you'll see there's 3 groups there. Join the Parasite group. drlodi.com. 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 Okay, but you guys are busy. That's how I feel with it attacking me. Binders are a must. drlodi.com. You can join the Parasite group. Well, okay, man, you guys got me going. I can't. I would go crazy if I were in your okay. I would go crazy because it's very difficult for you guys. You don't have enough information. Here we go. Is that us? Where is that? Where is that? Is that it? Yeah, January 14th. Wait. Come on. Where's the questions? No, 23rd. That's there. Okay, so we go. Okay, so where are we? Thyroid. Parathyroid. We did that one. Now we're on hello, thank you. We're on internal shingles. We did. Okay, and we talked to you now, Annette. You're gonna come to the CFC group, drlodi.com. Come to the CFC group because your situation is very, very important right away. Okay, yeah. And then the dosage Joyce regarding the ivermectin, as I said, and the fenbendazole, the other stuff. Actually, all of these things, if you join the Parasite group, we'll give you all that information. But everyone remember, it's really, if you go online and ask for the, go to, it doesn't have to be the CIA, aka Google. You don't have to CIA it. You can use other search engines, and just ask for the dosage of whatever, ivermectin, fenbendazole, niclosamide in per weight, and safety in children. Say that, and then it'll tell you, yes, it's safe in children, and it's used at this, per kilogram, like that. You can find that out, but Join the group so we can get into more discussions. Now, this is Lisa. It says I'm currently healing breast CFCs, plant-based. I exercise, grounding, ivermectin, fenben, juicing, healing my trauma, biological dentist, vitamin C. My question is, are all bets off if I decide not to do hormone replacement? Is it impossible to heal? Or do I start taking HRT now or after no CFC is detectable? If I do decide to take, okay. So, Lisa, it's a very good question, and this applies for many people too. So, the question is, do I take? By the way, I'm going to be talking about with Dr. Jen Simmons, the former breast surgeon who's now a integrative oncologist, like me. About this specific issue and more, and this right upcoming. I think it's next week or something, or the week after. Anyway, so the question is, should I block the hormone since I have hormone positive breast CFCs, hormone positive breast CFCs. So what does that really mean? Is our question. And when we ask that question, we find out that we're talking about the fact that the cells in the CFCs in the tumor have a lot of estrogen receptor alpha, which is the receptor that, when stimulated, makes tumors grow. And we know that receptor is heavily stimulated by both estrone and estradiol. We know that there are two estrogen receptors, alpha and beta. So we know that the estrone and estradiol heavily, they're called agonists, they're strong agonists for the alpha, meaning they really stimulate it. And they're mild agonists for the beta, meaning they mildly stimulate. Now, beta shrinks tumors, but the net effect in that situation is growth, tumor growth. And then the estrogen receptor beta is often downregulated in these tumors. However, when it's stimulated, it causes tumors to shrink. Now, the third estrogen that we make, other than estrone and estradiol, is called estriol, and estriol stimulates the beta heavily and a little bit the alpha, but the net effect is shrink. We also know that soy does the same thing as the estriol, and flax seeds, and other things. So that's all very important information. So now what we want to do is put ourselves in a situation where we've got all the heavy agonists on the beta receptor with the net effect of beta shrinking, right? And a little bit on the alpha, because what I like about the estriol of having a little bit on the alpha and a lot on the beta is that the net effect is beta, but sitting on the alpha, it actually blocks it, as tamoxifen would. It's blocking it because it's already sitting there and nothing else can get on it. So that you understand how that's very cool. So we want to maximize that. We maximize that with the phytoestrogens from soy. We maximize, which is miso, tofu, natto, tempeh, edamame, all those things. Flax seeds. Okay, make flaxseed smoothies. Green tea. Okay. And if you work, and now you want to balance, do you want to balance hormones? Yes, You want to come back to a healthy, balanced 35-year-old, because that's about where women are probably maximally healthy. Their hormones are no longer too high and they're not declining yet, so they're in a good condition, in a good position. And a healthy woman is a woman who cycles, right? Cycles. That's a healthy woman. So the closer we can mimic that condition, the better off, the more likely that woman is to be balanced, right? So by blocking anything, we are causing more of an imbalance, which the body is going to have to adapt to. The body adapts to imbalances. If it's balanced, there's no adaptation required. So we don't want to throw it more off balance. Okay, we don't want to do that. We want to restore balance. So the way I would work with you is restore the balance. And I would use biologically identical hormones, plant-based, and mimic it. So that maybe days 1 through 26 of the cycle, and if you're postmenopausal, either due to age or due to surgery or drugs or whatever, then we just pick any day arbitrarily as being day 1, and it's always best to just pick the first of the month, just because it's easy to remember. But anyway, day 1 is, if you're menstruating, is the first day of your period. But anyway, so the way we would do this is the estrogen, which would most likely be estriol purely, which is the beta agonist, days 1 through 26, and the days 12 through 26 would be progesterone, and that would closely mimic as the cycle. I mean, you could even do mimic more, make you could have more and more estrogen throughout the first cycle, and then, but this is fine. And then you have 4 days off of both at the end, and then okay, that's very good. And that's what I would do. And then we would measure, after about 6 weeks of it, we would measure your urinary metabolites to make sure that not only are the parent hormones okay, still are they okay, or do we need to adjust those, but are the metabolites okay? Because a lot of the effect of a hormone is not just on the parent hormone that's produced, but it's the effect of the metabolites, the downstream metabolites of these hormones. So we've got to know that. Is it a methoxy estradiol? Has it become, hydroxyl? Is it a 4-hydroxy? So what has happened? Because some are very, very good, healthy, and some have the negative effects. All right, so it requires a lot of it just requires somebody who's had experience doing this. So anyway, join our CFC group, drlodi.com. Health and Healing, Parasites, and CFC group. All right, you guys, it is after 9, and for you folks, I know it's late on the East Coast, not too late yet in West Coast, but anyway, very. I know I didn't get to them all. My gosh, you got to join the groups. Sawadee Kap. Okay, see you next week. Bye bye. Where is this? This is it. Okay, you guys. Aloha. Sawadee